Michael with United Veterans Worldwide, excited today to meet with my new friend Matt Cable. He and I came in contact recently through Instagram. I found his channel and loved his content. I loved his message, which not only talks physical, it talks mental. It's a very great holistic approach, and I'm eager for this global audience today to meet Matt. So Matt, will you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
What's up, guys? My name is Matt Cable, Air Force veteran. I just turned 34 years old. Feeling old. Woo-wee. Love it, man. I'm glad you found me. I'm glad to be on this channel with you. Sharing stories. I hope it impacts people's lives.
And I think it will, which is why I wanted you on. You've got a very unique story, but before we get into the depth of it, let's go back in time quite a bit, and let's see, why did you join the Air Force to begin with? What was your path to the Air Force?
So I growing up, I was addicted to this force. Like I just enjoyed everything there. It could be sports. I was a 5-sport athlete growing up. I ended up wrestling in college. Wasn't a sport of choice, but ended up being wrestling, and I enjoyed it for a while. I was going to school for criminal justice, and wanted to be a cop. Wanted to be in the law enforcement career, and I was young. I was like 20, and I wanted to get my career started. And I was looking into the military, and I'm like, I want to start my career now. So that's kind of how I found the Air Force. I actually went into the Air National Guard, and I went into security forces. I did that because I knew Air National Guard is, it can be part-time, right? And so I wanted to be part-time guard, full-time law enforcement in the civilian world. But it ended up being, I got back from basic and tech school, and I went on active duty orders for most of my career. So I actually never went civilian law enforcement. I was in guard / active duty, Title 10 orders for my career. And going into my second year in the Air Force, I was actually diagnosed with AML leukemia. That's cancer in my bone marrow. So my blood was reproducing, but it was reproducing leukemic cells, and it was taking a toll on my body. So we had to do chemotherapy pretty much immediately once I found it. Leading up to that, I didn't know what was going on. I had crazy body aches. It was like severe flu-like symptoms, kind of what I was feeling. Didn't know what was going on. Nothing would help. Doctors couldn't figure it out. I went to the hospital 4 times. They couldn't figure it out until they actually drew my blood, and they saw that my white blood cell count was 6 times normal. It's crazy. And so I started chemotherapy immediately. I was scheduled for actually my first deployment, scheduled for in 2014, and obviously I couldn't go. But during my first round of chemotherapy, I had a Hickman port put in my chest for my IV antibiotics and my chemotherapy. They think that got infected, and when it did, I went into complete organ failure and a coma, life support for 18 days. In the 18 days, I had lost about 60 plus pounds, like 65 pounds. But I woke up, and I wasn't supposed to, but I did, and it was crazy, looking back. And my mom was, she was showing me photos of me on life support and like how I looked, and it was just like, to me, it was just like, I was so shocked, but also humbled, like that I'm still here. And the first words the doctor told me was like you're only here because of the shape that you were in. And so, when I was laying there, I'm just like, goodness, like I was preparing for a battle. I didn't know I was about to fight, no one knows. You don't know you're going to get cancer, and you're going to have to fight, so because of all the years of training and all the sports I did, it led me to be able to win my first battle with leukemia. And so that just brought fitness. It just showed how important fitness is. And that's why I preached all the time. If you follow me, if you kind of see what I'm about. Like I think every post or something, it's about fitness, and there's a reason for it. It saved my life more than once, and I want to continue to showcase the benefits of proper nutrition and working out. Right, what it can do for your, not only physically but mentally as well. Fast forward 5 years. So it was about 4 to 5 years. It took me to kind of get it all back, right? Kind of where I was, because I had lost 60 pounds. I continued to train heavily. I got really into CrossFit, because I not only wanted to be strong, but I wanted to be in shape, so to speak, right? So like I wanted to have great aerobic capacity. I wanted to be able to run far. I wanted to be able to lift a lot of weight. So I got in really good shape, CrossFit shape. And 2018, 2019, I got a call from NBC, the Titan Games, and they wanted me on their show to showcase, my story.
Mm-hmm.
For them, it maybe was, what they wanted to see, not my story, but like how good a shape I was and my competitive nature and whatnot. But for me, it was more important than that. It was I was able to showcase my story to give others hope in the world. And that was the biggest thing for me. I didn't care if I won the show or whatever. I wanted to show people like you can be fucking rock bottom and barely surviving, and you can work your way up and continue to fight and then get up here, right? And so that's what I wanted to do, and I did that. I know I helped a lot of people. I got message after message after message after I was on the show about how much I inspired others, and that's how I met my wife. I know you're not talking much. Do you want me to keep going?
No, you know what? This is so great, Matt. I'm actually pretty floored to hear this story, because I believe in the power of the human body and the human mind. It's not by chance that you had a love of sport, you worked hard for your sports, and that takes a lot of mental determination to work hard at it. Having no idea that you would have a challenge put in front of you in the future that would push your very existence, right? Your vitality, your life strength. And having your testimony state that if it weren't for the physical shape you were in, and also I would say mental shape you were in, to endure such a thing, you may not have come out on the other side with your health. That's the first one. The second piece is, not only did you recover from this coma where you had zero control, and you're in the hands of God at that point to say, am I going to survive this or not? He brings you through that crisis. And then you say, well, how far can I go? And I love that message, because I've had my own physical ailments, had this shoulder fully replaced. And they were surprised at how much muscle I developed around this disintegrating shoulder from my injuries in combat. And I said, the only way that I got through mentally was by exercising and building muscle around my wounded area for 5 or 6 years, so that I didn't lose the arm. So I believe 100% that movement, fitness is medicine.
Absolutely, man. What's funny is after all that, my first bout with the leukemia, I had an appointment. I think I'm not sure what was going on, but a nurse, she made a comment to me, and it stuck with me. It's been like 10 years. Yeah, but it's been like 10 years. She said, I can't believe you're not on any medication like antidepressants or anything like that. Sorry, Jesus. Okay. She made a comment like, I can't believe you're not on any antidepressants, or like you're there or whatever, and I'm just like, man, like, is that the first thing people go to is like, oh, I can't handle this, I need antidepressants. I'm like, no way, man. Right now, the best thing for me in my mentality is to train my mind, and go and train my body as well, right? So train in the gym and put myself in that situation every day, right? Because it doesn't feel good to train. It can be painful, right? Because you're pushing yourself. It definitely worked my mind as well, and I've never needed to be on like medication for that, because I use other sources, right? Mm-hmm. But when we push forward, a lot of good things can happen. So 2019, right? I think I ended with How I Met My Wife, right, on the TV show. So
was she a competitor, or what was the?
No. So my wife is a breast cancer survivor. So all right. So I was deployed overseas. So 2018, 2019, I was on the Titan Games, and I knew after the Titan Games I was getting deployed. So another one of my goals was to be able to deploy with my unit. I wasn't able to deploy because of my leukemia, and so I fought the med board to stay in, and I fought to actually deploy with my team, my unit. Right, I wanted to go overseas with them and fight with them. And I finally got the okay, and I was so excited. Not only that, but I was on the Titan Games, and I knew after the Titan Games, I then was deploying. So I was going on pre-deployment orders. I was getting ready, mentally, physically. I felt like I was in the best shape of my life. So when I deployed overseas, my episode aired February 6th of 2019. I was deployed in January 2019. So my episode aired while I was deployed. And so, I was working like 14, 15-hour shifts, right? Still trying to train, trying to sleep, all that. I try to do all that, while you're deployed stuff. Yep. And so about a month into my deployment, my episode aired. And my wife, I didn't know her at the time, but my episode aired, right, stateside. And she was going through her it was like her second day after her double mastectomy. And she was kind of in a dark place. Yeah. Her parents were taking care of her. And her mom was like, "Hey, do you want to watch The Rock's new TV show, Titan Games?" And she's like, "Okay, sure." So I sat down, turned the TV on, and the first person she saw was me. And I was showcasing my story, right? And obviously, she was just battling cancer. And then she turned on the show, and it talked about my story immediately, right? First thing about how I overcame cancer and leukemia. And so immediately she's like, "Oh my God, that's eyes on the screen." And through the whole episode, she was just emotional and so inspired. She looked at her mom after the episode aired, and she's like, "Mom, that's my husband." And she went to see if I was real, went to Instagram and found me. And I was talking with the producers and whatnot. They're telling me exactly like, "All right, your episode's airing this time, blah, 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 post, a pit, whatever." So I posted a picture of me on the Titan Games, and I gave love to all my fans who were supporting me through the journey. And she had made a comment on my post, and I was looking through all my comments, and she said I'm an inspiration, and did like a prayer emoji. And I went to check out her profile, and I think her profile was her completely bald, and she was sharing her story to help others too, other females and everything, about breast cancer, bringing awareness to breast cancer and stuff. And she actually inspired me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to know who you are." So I messaged her on Instagram, and when I did, she screamed out loud, "Mom, he messaged me." And so he's real. He messaged me. Oh my God. And so we started talking through Instagram. And,
was she your age?
Yeah, she's a year younger than me. Yep. She's she's I'm 34. She's now 33.
So you both had cancer early in your 20s?
Yeah, she had cancer when she was 27.
What on earth?
Yeah, crazy, right? So we started talking, and she had no idea I was deployed. She did not grow up around a military family or nothing, so she had no idea what really deployment was. I think she even asked me if she'd come see me. And I was like, I don't think so. So we just continued to talk for, it was like 3 or 4 months, and it was like, it was just one thing I looked forward to besides training was talking to her each day. And I think vice versa too. I think she was having a hard time back home because she wanted to see me so bad. But so we're talking. It was getting to that point where it was hard because we keep talking and we're getting feelings for each other. But I know I have like 7 months left, right, of deployments. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be hard. And out of nowhere, about 4 months into my deployment, on April 1st, I relapsed and my cancer came back. And when it did, she was devastated. I remember the first person I told was her. She couldn't believe it. And I got medevac back stateside to Walter Reed like immediately. She flew from Florida, met me at Walter Reed that next night, and first time meeting was in the hospital at Walter Reed, and she has been by my side ever since. I remember, people were telling her, "Are you crazy for being this guy? He's flying to him, blah 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 blah," and she's like, "I don't know. I have this feeling I need to see him and meet him." And so we had our opportunity because, if I didn't, relapse, maybe we never meet each other, And it's one of those things you think about, like, man, can you really say that you wish you didn't have leukemia and get it a second time, right? It's like, I got it a second time. I was able to meet my wife, crazy to talk about.
Yeah, there's so much that I talk on this channel, and I've interviewed hundreds of people, and there's a common theme that runs through everybody's lives, which is magic happens when you're in the right place at the right time with the right people doing and saying the right things. And for her, your wife, to feel that inspiration without knowing, but feel that inspiration, I've got to be there for him. I've got to get out there and be in person.
Yeah.
It is a testament to me that God is in control. He lines up people in the hardest of circumstances. But it had to have been pretty defeating for you mentally to know that you're in relapse. Like, cancer is a scary thing.
Yeah. It was hard. But I kept thinking back to, like, I beat it once, let's do it again. It was hard because, I was definitely invested in my life, and I didn't want to lose it. I didn't want to lose it. I wasn't getting any younger, right? I was like 27, turning 28, and I was like, man, I'm getting up there, almost 30. Like, shoot. So I try not to think about it, but I kept fighting, and it helped endlessly too, because she was fighting her battles kind of alone, right? And then when she came, she immediately had to be my caregiver, essentially, right? And so she couldn't really think about her problems, which I think did help her, because she didn't have to face those alone, and she just didn't even get to think about it. Honestly, she's like, all right, I'm gonna help Matt, and that's what she did. She always talks about it and thanks me and all this and that, and then obviously I'm like, well, you kept me alive, you're my caregiver, so but yeah, she was with me since that day. And I remember after Walter Reed, which I was there for about 40 days, getting back into our mission. It actually was pretty tough because after your body goes through chemotherapy once, and all those cycles once, if it comes back, it's harder to get rid of because now your body's used to that chemo. So you have to hit a different stuff, harder stuff. You got to kill off your cancer to then build it back up and hope and pray that it doesn't come back, right? So I got into remission, and now I had to have a bone marrow transplant because they gave me that option the first time around. But I had to. I didn't want to do the transplant yet. I wanted to be like, all right, let's do chemo, see if that kills it. I had about a 50-50 ish odds that it would come back or not. I was like, shoot, well, let's take it, because I'd rather do that than have a transplant. And a transplant kind of can just your DNA and how your body feels and energy levels and everything like that. So first time around, I chose just chemotherapy. Now I had to choose a transplant because I knew it will come back if I don't do a transplant. So I had it. I was very blessed and lucky to have a donor who was a 10 out of 10, which was good. And he was actually the same donor that they found back in 2014. So he stuck around for, good amount of years with me. It was cool.
Good.
So having a donor was nice. Then we scheduled a date. But I ended up moving to Arizona because the Mayo Clinic is over there in Phoenix. And it's one of the best blood cancer hospitals in the world. And so moved over to Arizona to do my treatment. I had my mom lived there, so I had family. Started my treatment, going into my second round of chemotherapy over there in Arizona. So what chemotherapy does, it kills off your white blood cells, kills off everything on your cells. So now you have no immune system to fight any infection that you may get. So that's why people, they urge you not to do very much. If you're going through chemo, you have to be very careful, wear masks, etc., right? You don't want to get anything infection-wise. Me, being who I am, I would go to the gym. I would.
Jeez.
I got a fungal infection, fungal sinusitis, which kills people who are healthy. And I had no white blood cells about any infection. I didn't know it. Ensley was moving from Florida to come and take care of me, to not only be my girlfriend, but also my caregiver. She was going to take care of me through a transplant, like that. I picked her up on the 2nd of July, 2019. July 3rd, we're getting ready for 4th of July. I got fireworks. I have family coming in. She takes me to the emergency room because about 3 in the morning, I'm crying tears because I'm in so much pain. My sinuses up here. Didn't know why. I was in so much pain. So she drew me to the ER at the Mayo. They immediately brought me back because I was chemo. I was going through chemo, and they immediately took me back to the ER and then put me on life support almost immediately because I had fungal sinusitis. It was going to my brain. It was already going through my eye. It was crazy. So they had to do emergency surgery, but before then they had to shoot me with a white blood cell fertilizer to shoot my white blood cell count up so they'd be able to do surgery on it. If they shot me with it and my white blood cell count didn't go up, they wouldn't be able to do surgery with me, and I probably would have died. I should have died regardless, because that type of surgery and the type of with me not having an immune system or like that, they did 5 surgeries in 7 days. And they couldn't believe I survived. They saved my right eye as well, which they don't even know how I did that. I still have weird pressures and weird just things going on with my eye because of they had to go up in there and scrape everything out. And for the longest time, I had a droopy eye. Mm-hmm. And I remember Ensley she was looking at patches because they told her, they're like, he's gonna lose his right eye if he makes it through this. And so she's looking at patches. And she tells me all the time, she's like, "Babe, can you imagine if you lost your eye? You only have one eye right now. If you wear a patch when you're training." I was laugh. I'm like, I know, that'd be weird, but no, they're able to save it and my life. Honestly, after that surgery, it was a big surgery for me, and so it took me a few months to kind of recover. It actually pushed my transplant date back another 2 months, I think. But I had Ensley there. She's my caregiver from that day on. When you have a transplant, a bone marrow transplant, you have to have a caregiver for at least 100+ days, or they won't give you a transplant because you can't take care of yourself. And if you miss a pill or anything like that, your transplant will fail and you will die. So it's very important. So she had a very important job to not miss, scheduled pill. I had probably 5 pills a day I had to take at certain times of the day. And so I had my transplant. They gave me more chemotherapy, killed off everything, and then gave me a transplant. I was in the hospital for, I think, all of 2019. So the end of 2019 and most of 2020, I was in the hospital. Even going through COVID, I was in the hospital.
How scary.
Yeah. But ended by my side the whole time. And for about 11 months, my blood wasn't reproducing. They couldn't figure out why. So for 11 months, I was having to get transfusions, blood transfusions twice a week, which was killing me. I was trying to work out through everything, and it was really hard because anything was cardio, right? If I stood up fast, it was cardio, and my blood was running half a tank. So normal hemoglobin for us is about 14-ish, 15-ish. I was running about 6 and 7, and then it would drop each day down to like 5 or 4, and they have to give me transfusion, get me back up to 7.
So what that means, if your hemoglobin's that low, and I was a combat medic for the first 7 years of my career. It means that you have half of the oxygen produced in your body. So you're now, like he says, standing up is cardio because you don't have the oxygen capacity to, like you used to have, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. And I'm trying to train. And so like anything over 5 reps was just hard for me, but I would literally set up my entire energy for the day and go for an hour at like night. So I'd sleep and rest all day, make myself go to the gym with Ensley at like 6 at night. I would try and do like an hour session, an hour of lifting, which honestly I got pretty strong in that time. I was only hitting, my rep scheme was like anywhere from like 3 to 5. That was like every day. So like my strength was actually going up, which is cool. I wasn't in shape anymore. So we did that. We played that game for 11 months until they found the last attempt before I would have to possibly be another transplant. Blood producing. They tried this procedure called plasmapheresis, and that's where they take out your blood and plasma out of one arm, and they kick it through a machine, kick all the nasty gunk, and then kick back new plasma in the other arm. And after about a month and a half, it like kickstarted, restarted my blood. It was weird. And so it started like, at first it was steady. It was at like 8.5. And then in like 2 days, it was like 8.7. I was like, oh my God, it didn't go down. Are you kidding me? I was like, that's so wild. And then my blood, I used to be O negative. It kicked over to my donor's blood, which was A positive. So from O negative to A positive. So now I'm A positive blood type. And then after that, I was just like, all right, I started to feel better. I wasn't as pale anymore. And I feel like I was able to live sort of like a normal life, right? Of like not being tired as much. And now I can really kind of recover, right? I can like now rest and recover and like have almost like a goal in mind, right? To kind of strive for. All right, cool. Now let's start training a little harder. Let's feel a little better. And that's kind of what we did, right? I was still going through, I had like medical appointments all the time and whatnot. And Ensley didn't, she had a tough job taking care of me. I know I wasn't easy at all, but she said that she would, she says she would never take it back. She loved every minute of it,
What a special woman.
Yeah, she's very special. And one thing, so she a couple of years ago, actually when she was going through chemotherapy herself, she actually had an ovary removed. It ruptured while she was going through chemo. It was crazy stuff. And doctors were saying that her or myself couldn't ever have kids. And now we have 2. So it just kind of goes to what kind of miracles are out there and just, I can't even explain it. It's just, my life's been insane the last 10 years. I honestly have a hard time remembering anything before then. Like, I feel like my whole life's been like this journey, right, of like overcoming these obstacles, but also being blessed too. A lot of things have happened to myself and obviously my wife, family, because that you would never ever expect. And I'm just trying to live each life day by day, because you don't know what really can happen, and we could die tomorrow.
Yep.
In a freak accident, you just don't know. I mean, obviously in the news, you've seen all these freak accidents just happen the last couple of days.
Yep.
Like anything can happen, and I have to just live day by day and try not to stress about the little things, man. Because we all have stressors that we deal with. That is constantly on my mind too. Like if I wake up at 1 a.m, I have a hard time going back to sleep because your mind just starts thinking about shit that I probably shouldn't think about.
Yeah. I've got a question for you, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's kind of a deep one, but I'm hearing your story and all of these emergency situations that should have taken you out of this life. Something takes each of us out of this life, but it didn't. Breast cancer could have taken your wife out of this life.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, why did God preserve you?
I ask myself that all the time. And the answer I have, honestly, is He wants me to help people. And for me, I've been trying to think how I can help others. And not only through inspiration and motivating these others, but I started coaching, right? Because I do have a lot of knowledge. I've been training since I was in the gym, since I was 12 years old, 12 years old. And, learning form techniques take a long time, but I've got pretty good at it. And coaching has been a thing for me now. And I enjoy helping others. And when people look at me, like, I'm kind of like I look like a big dude. I look like I know what I'm doing.
You
right?
do.
And people, they wonder, like, what does it take? Or like, what did I do? Whatever. And I want to be able to give back and help them. And so I transitioned that into coaching. So I online coach. I also coach in person. I just got my CrossFit Level 1 cert. So I'm over at a gym over here in Orlando, coaching CrossFit as well. And honestly, that's been a passion of mine. I really enjoy it. I don't know. Every day I'm like, what can I do to help at least one person, right? If that's like a post on Instagram of inspiration of sharing like the pain that I still go through, right? Mentally, physically, like I'm not alone in this. Other people, I know they're going through it. Like I want to show that like life is not perfect all the time. It's probably rarely perfect. You're probably always going through something, always. And just giving that little hair of inspiration can help push someone that day, right, to continue fighting. So.
Yeah, that's great insight, and I think you're right. If you look at somebody else whose life looks perfect, you have to assume they're going through something, and more often than not, they are. And it's always beneficial to ask, hey, how are you really doing today? Especially when we talk guys. I think so long the stigma of male culture is that we don't talk emotion, we don't talk feelings, and I think that's totally prevented guys from healing for years. And the reality is we go through our own difficulties and struggles, and it's so helpful when a guy to guy come together and somebody says, hey dude, how you feeling? Let's go to the gym together, let's go work out, let's get out of your own head and let's find a way to climb this hill together. And it is so empowering, right? And so I almost got emotional when you said the answer to why you were preserved, and it's to help other people. And I freaking love that message. And I don't know if there's an increase in the world today of people like you, like me, who are trying to reach out to people to help them. But I see more and more people, it seems like, online, and I'm connecting with them, who have gone through their own trauma of life. And that could be a lot of different things. It could be child abuse. It could be combat-related stress. It could be cancer. It could be illness. It could be a car accident that causes chronic pain. These people come out of these traumas, and without fail, if they endure it well, they end up developing this extra empathy for other people. They also develop a gift to help people heal. And sometimes it comes in the form of like my hypnotherapist on Hatch Path that I've used. Her name is Beck. She is magnificently gifted because she's gone through her own stuff. And now she's in a place where she can help people. Matt, you're another person I'll add to that as I talk to other people. I'll say, my friend Matt has gone through an amazing journey of suffering to get to a place where he can help people. You know, for people who don't know, when you work really hard to build up your body, it takes a lot of breaking the body down to build it up, breaking it down, build it up. And it's a lot of work and effort. And then you get sick. And your muscles are the first to go. They atrophy so fast. And Matt, you're in your 30s right now?
And 34.
Okay, so I'm 47, and it happens even faster when we're in our 40s. Like, I hate to break that to you.
Yeah, I know.
And it is so defeating sometimes. I had the flu a couple weeks ago, and I just could not get over it. And I just saw all of my gains starting to disappear, and I was so frustrated. And then I hit the gym again, and I got back, and it was amazing how fast some of the stuff came back, and I was like, thank goodness. But you know, that's life, right? We have these successes. We have this dip. We have these successes. We have these dips.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had to repair my body probably, I think, 3 times now in the last, 10 years. I've lost, 60 pounds each time. Each one of those battles. It was crazy. And I had to just look in the mirror. You know, I was at the gym. I had PICC lines on my arm, and I'm like, I had to just look at myself in the mirror and just be like, all right, it'll come back, right? You know, muscle memory is a heck of a thing. And
it is.
I knew I had it, and I just had to stick with it each day. And that's what I did. You know, I put all my anger, sadness into those weights, and it did help. It did help 100%. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Matt, can you tell me a couple of experiences without disclosing too much information about other people that you've seen your belief in the body's ability to change and transition?
Yeah. So, you know how you said you're just talking about how one little, how you doing, man? Let's go to the gym or whatever, right? Like, because they're probably going through stuff. I had a buddy. He was going through some things, and I knew he was. His wife kind of would slip little hints, like he's not doing very well. This is the answer that he gave me, etc. It was one of those things where I was like, all right, well, let me call him. See how he's doing. Hey, man, let's go to the gym, right? Went to the gym, and he we talked throughout the gym workout, and he kept bringing up, like, man, like I used to do this, or I used to be able to do that. And I was like, hey, man, you're here now. Let's get it back. I know you got it. I know it'll come right back to you. So let's get it. So, got him back in the gym, and there's something about it. He's happier, kind of back into like the consistency of the gym and how that can make you feel. So yeah, when you said helping people, getting him back in the gym has helped him. I get messages all the time of like, hey, you're such an inspiration, like what can I do, or like how do you get to this funk? And I'll talk to them kind of about what I do, what I use as like my own therapy, right? And it has helped. I have a friend, won't disclose names or anything like that, but he's followed me along my journey for years and years and years. And he was pushing 400 pounds. He was in and out of prison. Just his life wasn't good. It wasn't looking good. And he used me and my social media, my page, as inspiration, as like a motivation for him. He was going through a divorce now. He wasn't able to see his kids, and he was in a dark place. And he actually just sent me a photo, and like we've been talking, for the last couple of years, right, back and forth. And I've kind of been accountable this last year, right? Like he'll message me, I'll message him, see how he's doing. And he keeps pushing. He went from about 400 plus pounds down to like these like mid 200s, and he just, you know, he's still going through some dark days, right? But he's also using fitness to help him, mentally and physically. He just sent me a photo, I think, a couple days ago. I was like, "Dang, man, let's go, buddy." So yeah, those are just a few stories, but
yeah, those are powerful. When you can put yourself out there and people recognize that you're a source of light. And I talk through different levers in my channel: fitness, nutrition, mental health, emotional health, making and keeping connections, spirituality, service in the community. And you're tapping into this fitness and making connections in this story. And it's so important. It's so powerful to make and maintain relationships. And I say that because I'm glad that you were blessed mentally to have the courage to just keep fighting and fighting. But there are people like me and others who haven't been as healthy mentally through our struggles. As a matter of fact, it gets to a pretty dark place. And, you know, you're working with Hatch Path right now, and Operation Healing Forces is part of that organization with Special Operation Veterans coming in. And there are many of them who mentally are not in a good place. And they're trying to be, and they're trying to be everything for their family, but maybe they've had a traumatic brain injury like I have, and it alters your body's chemistry and also the neural pathways. And it makes it really difficult to push over that crest. But I think what you're doing is really inspiring people to say, I got it, you've been injured, so have I, right? I've had these illnesses that have really sapped everything, but there is a way to get over that hump. And let's keep making this progress up, right? There's hope.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And talking to people is a good way too. Like, you know, like if you have, you know, therapists to talk to, that's great. Sometimes if that's good for you, it works, use it. Some people works good for, some it doesn't, right? Just find what helps you, you know. And then obviously, and for me, you know, personally, going and training helps me mentally a lot. Not everybody, right? I mean, not everybody is gonna help and make them feel better. I mean, to some extent, it will make them feel better.
Agreed.
When you release those endorphins and everything like that, you're on high, you're training, it feels great. And yeah, that's been my medicine. And then it's what I've come to find out what really is good for me and helps me. So yeah, I know what you mean, that people, it's hard to get over that hump sometimes, and when you can find or help someone get over that little push, right, to help them, I know exactly what you mean. So
well, I salute you for your efforts, Matt, and your story has been absolutely inspirational, and I just can't believe that your body has been able to endure so much. And I wish I could meet your wife today too, because she is such an inspiration to take on, you know, your care at the same time as you're going through your mess, because she'd already gone through her own mess. It's just an amazing testimony to me that of human ability to endure. I'm so grateful. Matt, in the last couple minutes here as we're talking, can you share with me your vision for what you're doing for people in terms of fitness to get them to a place of light?
Yeah, you know, I share my social media platforms that I am here to, you know, come. I'm here to coach. I'm a coach. I'll help you reach your goals. You know, I have a you know a decent amount of clients. I don't want to overdo it, right? Because for me, my clients, I'm literally like, almost not like your beck and call, right? Like whatever you need, any questions, like text me. And it literally, I program nightly. Like some people do like weekly. Me, I do it nightly because I want to see how they're doing. I want to I'm like, all right, hey, how you feeling? How did that workout feel? Like, did you like, how did reps feel? Did we change anything? And then I'll go on to the next day. Like, all right, cool. So that I make sure I have their workout done, their programming done by the end of the night. So they have that morning. And I like to be transparent. I like to be there with any questions. I'm not like one of those coaches who will, and like nothing against them, right? But like I want to be there like fully for my clients, and I can do that by not having 30, 40 clients at a time, right? I keep a minimal 10, 15 clients to where I can really put like my 100% energy into them and kind of what they're going through, and I want to help them to the best of my ability. So that's kind of one thing that I do to help.
Yeah, that's impressive. And as I organize my thoughts around a business for holistic whole of health, I love that aspect, and I look forward to more interactions with you in the future, brother. And keep up the good work. You are an inspiration. Your story ought to continue to be shared, because it really is one of triumph over the illness and physical. It's powerful.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Michael. Thank you, man. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm glad I was able to share my story with you. Glad you got to know me a little more, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. All right, brother, we'll stay in touch.